You have taken a wrong turn. You are now trapped in an auditory liminal space, a place between the stations. Do not worry. We can show you the way out. Listen closely. Try not to get lost. Let's start changing frequencies. Hello once again, dear listeners. Welcome back, as always, to our weekly tour of the void. I am unsure if my voice is reaching you today, as, once again, as is common for us here in the void, things have become very, very weird. As I am sure you may recall, listeners, a few weeks ago, I was given the opportunity to expand upon my scope of understanding of the human experience. The opportunity to momentarily possess and share a human body. Of course, being a scientific mind and curiosity, I took the chance without so much as a second thought. Well, dear listeners, despite the very valuable information this little experiment provided us with, its effects upon my incorporeal form have left me to regret the whole endeavor. Like Icarus, we too were blinded by excitement and novelty. Seeing the ever diminishing size of my wax wings, I fear I have flown too close to the sun. I have become a victim of my own hubris. Like every scientist in Jurassic Park, and every subsequent scientist in their subsequent installments, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, To Jurassic 2 Park, Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Tokyo Drift, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion. You'd really think they'd have learned their lesson by now. We were so preoccupied with whether or not we could, we didn't stop to think if we should. Well, I have the answer now, dear listeners. Hindsight is always 20/20, and before that, I am blind. We shouldn't have. Let's take a small listening break, and I'll continue explaining right after. Here's There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. Alright, listeners, if you haven't already deduced from the strange sound of my voice as well as my constant sniffling, I am sick. A state of being that should not be possible for someone like me. I am, of course, still here with you guys in the studio, like the professional that I am, but this is no easy task. From what I have been able to gather via my own testing, it very much appears that the bacteria that both inhabit and invade the human body manage to make my host body sick and tangentially have had adverse effects on me despite my lack of a physiological form. The effects seem to be similar to that of the human flu: coughing, dry throat, nasal congestion, all of which aren't that concerning until you get to the part where I do not have a throat and I do not have a nose. It appears that as a result of the conditions I created, I too now have fallen prey to the invisible threat that is disease. An additional issue arises, however, and a very concerning one at that, as under no other circumstances could I be affected by this problem, truly a blessing of my specific situation. I also now have no unearthly way of combating this. Not only is my static form not in possession of biological factors that I might currently benefit from, such as antibodies, I can also not partake in the modern miracle of medicine. Not unless these come in the form of a radio wave, which, to my knowledge, they do not. I fear, listeners, that the only plausible solution to this problem is to once again meet the conditions that put me in this predicament to begin with. I think the only way I can rid myself of this issue is to once again possess a human body. The logistics of this will be difficult to figure out. But for now, let's just get back to some music. Much like my current situation, here is Sad, Beautiful, Tragic by Taylor Swift. Alright, listeners, I have begun the process to contact my original host so that we may begin to getting me back to my unsick state of being. The simple days. It is my hypothesis that if I were to inhabit a human body, I could rid myself of disease with medicine, and upon leaving I would be healed and back to normal. This, of course, in the meantime, means not much to you, as you will not hear from me the next week, by when, which I hope I will have recovered. In the meantime, however, as per usual, it is time for us to part ways. Here's one last song for me, as we get ready for your exit. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, I'm always here, and I too am always listening. Here's the final countdown.